They was not scared of Suge Knight. They was terrified.
It was real. It's like, okay, man. This is when I knew. I'm like, damn, Eminem is a real.
Like, was somebody from the barbershop like punch you and knock you out after that? Like, you be knocked out like from the guy from the barbershop do that? Yeah. It changed. And they be like, Suge's outside. And everybody be like, yeah? What do you want?
Em was walking to his seat. I'm standing off to the side. And Em was cut off on his way to his seat. And all these guys in red shirts surrounded him.
Eminem and 50 Cent just dropped a bombshell. They sent a loud, clear warning to Suge Knight, and what they said has people second-guessing everything we thought we knew about their past drama and loyalty issues. The grudge they've got against Suge is still burning strong, especially for the stuff he pulled on folks close to them. Now, if you're not familiar with the backstory, here's how it all went down. This beef didn't just show up out of thin air. Eminem and 50 basically walked into it the moment they joined forces with Dr. Dre Suge Knight, real name Marion Hugh Knight Jr., started out in the music biz running security for celebs like Bobby Brown, but he quickly realized the real game wasn't under the spotlight. It was in the power moves happening behind closed doors. Back in 1991, Suge joined forces with Dr. Dre, the DOC, and Dick Griffey to launch what would become one of the most feared and talked about labels in rap, Death Row Records. When Dr. Dre dropped The Chronic in '92, it flipped the industry on its head. That West Coast sound, untouchable. Then in '93, Snoop Dogg came through with Doggy Style and tore up the charts. They weren't just making music, they were dominating the culture, and once Tupac joined the squad, it was game over. Death Row was the pulse of the streets. They had the beats, the money, the flash, but all that glitz came with a dark cloud. Suge Knight wasn't just the boss, he was the enforcer. Rumors say Vanilla Ice got pressured into signing over his royalties. Cornered is the word on the street. And that was just one piece of the madness. A word on the street is, Suge Knight wasn't just tough, he was straight up terrifying. Multiple sources have spilled that he used to make artists strip in the office over stuff that could have easily been talked out. That whole death row empire, it was built on fear, control, and straight up intimidation. Whatever Suge said, that was law. By 1996, Dr. Dre had enough. He was done playing the game under Suge's rules. He walked away from it all, his royalties, his 50% ownership, everything. That's how deep it ran. He gave up millions just to breathe easy.
Well, I don't lead by money. I've never let money lead my life.
Then he did what bosses do. He built Aftermath Records from scratch, no handouts. But Suge wasn't about to sit back quietly. He felt double-crossed, like Dre had stabbed him in the back. So he took it personal, real personal. He wanted to see Dre fall bad. And for a second, it looked like Suge might get his wish. Aftermath's early releases were underwhelming. People started whispering in the streets, "Dre ain't got it no more." Meanwhile, Suge was posted up in the cut, smirking like the king still on his throne. But then Dre played a card that nobody saw coming. He took a gamble on a white rapper from Detroit with fire in his chest and something to prove. Eminem, straight out of 8 Mile, this dude came in spitting wild bars, no filter, no fear. When the Slim Shady LP hit the streets, it flipped the whole industry upside down. He was loud, controversial, and sharp with it. And before the dust settled, Eminem had 3 Grammys locked in. Just like that, Dre was right back at the top. That's when Suge Knight stopped just watching from the shadows and started scheming again. This time, it wasn't just Dre he had on his radar. According to multiple outlets, Suge had locked in on Eminem.
It was real. It's like, okay, man. This is when I knew. I'm like, damn, Eminem is a real.
Fast forward to 1999, a wild night at an award show that still gets brought up in hip-hop convos to this day. Eminem was just making his way to the stage, probably thinking it was a regular moment until Suge's crew rolled up deep. All of them in bold red shirts, loud and aggressive, surrounding M while yelling "Death Row" like they were staking territory.
M was walking to his seat. I'm standing off to the side. And M was cut off on his way to his seat. And all these guys in red shirts surrounded him. And I'm looking at M's face and I'm looking at these guys. I'm like, something ain't right. So I started making my way around to come up the aisle. And next thing I know, you see all these guys talking about Death Row, Death Row. I was like, Death Row, what's it got to do with him? He said, hey man, Suge sent him a message. I was like, oh, yeah.
Well, in 1999 at the Source Awards,
Suge Knight sent his henchmen, man.
They weren't there to clap or congratulate. They came to rattle him, to let him know he was being watched. But M, he didn't flinch. He kept it cool, walked up on that stage like nothing happened, handed that award over to DMX, and sat back down like a straight soldier.
And the Source Award for Best Performance goes to... Who's the winner? Where my dogs at? DMX! Why yo? DMX!
But it didn't end there. Outside the venue, Suga's people were still lurking, hanging around Eminem's limo, waiting like they had unfinished business. They wanted to apply pressure, but M had been through real-life struggles. They couldn't shake him. That kind of scare tactic wasn't going to crack someone who'd already survived the chaos of 8 Mile.
After that, we got out of there. We called the limo. This is where it gets up. We called the limo. Death Row is still sitting out there waiting for us. The limo's pulling off as we're coming out. Death Row's behind us. It was like, this motherfucker's trying to kill us, man. What they trying to do? What do they want? I don't understand. What do they want?
Im's ready to swing on someone if he has to.
Yeah, man. You know, like I said, he ain't no.
And over time, Suge never really let up. Anytime Eminem made noise, Suge popped up with some slick remarks, throwing shade in interviews, spreading talk behind the scenes. He tried to downplay M's rise, saying he ain't from the streets and calling him fake like he was just acting out a character.
For his life, Snoop decided he couldn't stay. He left Death Row, severing ties with the label. With Snoop gone, it was officially the end of an era. Suge had lost all his superstars, and the empire he built was falling apart. Meanwhile, Dr. Dre and Eminem were thriving. Their albums were topping charts, winning awards, and quickly becoming cultural icons.
The Grammy goes to Mr. Controversy, Eminem.
Seeing Eminem rise alongside Dre only fueled Suge's anger. He saw their collaboration as a personal attack and made Eminem his enemy.
M had inherited Dr. Dre's beef by signing with Dre.
Suge then began to do everything he could to discredit both Dre and Eminem. In a 2002 interview with Howard Stern, Suge took jabs at Eminem's authenticity, questioning whether he was truly from the streets or just a white rapper playing a role.
What do you think of Eminem? Is that what do you think of white rap?
If you really from the ghetto, and you really doing those things you rapping about, you talking about, I can respect that.
Right.
If somebody else writing your rhymes, somebody else, if you telling somebody else's story, that really don't mean that.
Suge Knight wasn't the type to stop.
But Suge wasn't just running his mouth. Back in '99, during a Death Row reunion party in Hawaii, he took it a step further and made his move. That event, it was packed with industry heavyweights. Dre, Snoop, Eminem, even their families were all in Hawaii thinking it was just a laid-back getaway. But Suge, he had other plans cooking. Sources say he flew his crew into the city and spread them out, ready to stir up chaos wherever they could. It wasn't no vacation on his side. It was a setup waiting to pop off. Word got back to Dre and they didn't waste a second. With loved ones around, they weren't about to roll the dice. They locked in serious security, bodyguards, even law enforcement, to make sure no one got caught slipping.
You know, we were all going out. We were supposed to be on vacation and having a good time with our family and kids and wives, and just parlaying, man. As the plane land, they open the door up and you got Honolulu police standing right there talking about, hey, y'all got to come with us. And it was about 20 officers, man. Say, hey, you guys got to come with us. Death Row Records is here, and they wreaking havoc.
They came ready. Then came 2002, and everything shifted. That's when Eminem got his hands on 50 Cent's mixtape, Guess Who's Back? And boom, he knew right away this wasn't just heat. It was something special. He brought it straight to Dre, and from there, the game changed forever. Dre and M signed 50 to Shady and Aftermath, and just like that, the rap world had a brand new voice with a whole lot of power behind it. Get Rich or Die Tryin' dropped on February 6th, 2003, and it was an instant earthquake. That album blasted straight to #1 on the Billboard 200, pulling in over 872,000 copies in the first week alone. The streets couldn't ignore it. 50 was in and he wasn't going anywhere. But stepping into Dre and M's world meant stepping into their beef too. And Suge Knight wasn't sitting silent.
Suge is coming! So I'm like,
Suge's outside. Suge's outside. Everybody like, he was running, dropping.
So Suge came, he had some Mexican niggas. Now we from New York. You ain't never seen a nigga with a tattoo on his forehead. 118th Street crew. I'm like, what the fuck?
Suge wasn't just tossing slick comments either. According to reports, he tried running the same old play, intimidation. Word is, he rolled up on the set of 50 Cent's Indie Club video shoot with a crew of 30 deep-looking dudes, all dressed to send a message. And as soon as folks spotted Suge and his squad, most of the crew vanished quick. They weren't sticking around to see what would happen.
Club video, and somebody said, Suge Knight here. And 50 I was at the bar, Game was there. He was shooting in the club scene, and he stopped. And Suge came in with 30 Mexicans, like you said. Which is weird, you know what I'm saying?
He always wrong with the Mexicans.
You know what I'm saying? And I just remember smurfing.
But here's where things really start heating up. 50 Cent didn't flinch, not one bit. He stepped right up, stood firm, and looked Suge Knight dead in the eye, basically asking him straight up, "What's your move?" That alone sent a message louder than words. And once Suge saw his scare tactics weren't working on 50, he backed off, didn't say a word, just turned and walked away.
It was like, Suge's outside, Suge's outside. Everybody like, it was running, dropping shit. Like, man, everybody going, I'm in front of the camera like this. Everybody like, running. It was just gone.
All right, so people like, can you?
Yeah, now it kind of changed a little bit. Like, was somebody from the barbershop like punch you and knock you out after that? Like, you be knocked out like from the guy from the barbershop do that? It changed. And they be like, Suge's outside. And everybody be like, yeah.
But the tension, it wasn't over, not even close. Things exploded all over again when Eminem came through swinging with a major curveball, an unreleased diss track called Smack that somehow leaked out to the public. And trust, it was brutal. Eminem didn't hold anything back. He went straight for both Suge Knight and Ja Rule in the track, and what he said took things to a whole new level of wild. In the song, M straight up pointed the finger at Suge for two of the biggest tragedies in hip-hop history. He rapped, "I'm holding Suge responsible for the deaths of the two greatest rappers to ever grace the face of this planet. If only the late great Mr. Christopher Wallace could talk, he could tell you himself. I'm holding Suge responsible for the death of Ja Rule or anyone else down with death row. In the immortal words of Pac, speaking for me and any other rapper next to get shot." That's not just rap beef, that's a straight up accusation. And this track didn't drop quietly either. The second it leaked, the internet lit up like wildfire. People were dissecting every bar, reposting clips, and throwing their opinions all over the place. The old beef between M and Suge, which many thought had cooled off, came roaring back with new energy. As for Suge Knight, so far he stayed silent, no comment, no response. But everybody's watching to see if he finally says something, because the streets are already talking heavy. One user dropped a take that had folks nodding. "I'm no expert on street politics, but I've heard plenty say the white dudes in the game be the wildest because they gotta prove themselves twice as hard." And honestly, that might explain exactly why Eminem showed up with zero hesitation and matched 50's energy from day one. Another person chimed in with, "50 did what anyone should do with a bully, stand up and show no fear. Bullies survive off fear alone." And that right there sums up the whole vibe between M and 50. No fear, no folding, just straight heat every time they step up. Someone else added, "Suge never cared about the music, it was always about power, and the crazy part, he still does. Look how that turned out for him." It's clear, people see right through the act now and they're speaking real loud about it. And just when people thought things might finally cool down, nope, the tension stayed thick. Even in the years that followed, anytime Eminem or 50 made a big move, Suge Knight's name somehow popped back up. Whether it was rumors of phone calls, shady interviews, or quiet threats floating through the industry, his presence kept creeping in like a ghost that wouldn't leave. But here's where it gets even crazier. Behind the scenes, there were whispers that Suge was trying to spark a comeback, not musically, but in control. Word started going around that he was trying to rebuild his image, link with new artists, and maybe even reclaim that death row energy. But the game had changed. The industry didn't fear him like it once did. And the new generation, they weren't about to bow down. Meanwhile, Eminem and 50 kept stacking wins. Every time one of them dropped something, it was like a reminder. We're still here. We're still untouchable. And that silence from Suge, It got louder with every success they had. He went from being the shadow behind the biggest label in rap to being barely mentioned unless someone brought up the past. People online didn't let it slide either. Forums, comment sections, and YouTube videos lit up with folks saying things like, Suge lost the game the second he started trying to scare the wrong ones, and M and 50 didn't just survive, they took over. Now, the legacy's written. Suge might have ruled with fear, but M and 50, they built theirs with fire and fight, and nobody's forgetting that anytime soon. Now everybody's asking the big question. Should Eminem have dropped that diss track smack way back when the streets were boiling? Would it have hit even harder during the peak of that chaos, when the tension between camps was off the charts? Or maybe, just maybe, this was the perfect time for it to resurface. When the dust has settled and the legacy speaks louder than fear, was this M's final word? Or just a reminder that some beef never really dies? Either way, we want to hear what you think. Was this the right moment? Or did M miss a chance to shake things up even more back then? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's get into it. And if you're feeling the heat we brought today, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We've got more wild stories, throwback drama, and deep dives coming your way real soon. Thanks for rocking with us, and we'll see you on the next one.